So I'm really excited to have Temi with us here today because we're going to be talking about Temi getting her first rent-to-rent deal. We're so excited. And within our rent-to-rent Kickstarter coaching, Temi's the first person, and it's just 4 weeks in, and Temi's got her first deal and it's all signed up. And we'll talk all about the deal and Temi and how she did it. Right now. So, Temi, welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. Right, so let's go back to the beginning, Temi, to a few weeks ago. It was just after Christmas, coming into New Year.
Yeah.
And before you, what made you sort of want to go into rent-to-rent in the first place?
Okay. I think the initial start was I went for Samuel Leeds training, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 2018. I went for Samuel Leeds training, 2 days course, 2018.
What month?
And that was in November. No, I had my September.
At the end of the year, yeah, well, towards the end.
Yeah. So it was September, and then it's more focused on HMO and how to start with not a lot of money, which was in the position I am. So I was a bit confused because I haven't got enough savings to start to get my own HMO. So I was reading different strategies on what to do, sourcing, lease options, everything. And I was more interested in rent to rent, but it sounded impossible. I felt it was quite like there's no way anybody would own their property to me, and then knowing that I'm going to rent individual rooms. So I was a bit like, this is not possible, but let me just try. So I went on YouTube and I searched rent to rent, and your videos came up. And it became addictive. So I started watching it. And then I do go for networking events, the free ones. So I'll just check online if there's any free ones going on West Midlands. So I used to go usually in the evening. So after work, if I get good childcare, I'll go for the 3 hours evenings. So I met few people that were doing rent to rent. But the training they had was quite expensive. So I was thinking, my little savings, I don't want into it for that amount of savings. So I'll just carry on watching the videos. So I was watching your videos, and there were a few things that you pointed out, which was get the business registered, accounts. And so I started, to be honest, before I made the phone call, I've started with my accountant, opening business accounts, trying to do that, trying to register. So I think the two things I did was the business account and I was trying to do them now, and then the registering the business. Those were the two things before I made the phone call to you. I think one of the videos, I just saw one of the videos that if you want blah, 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 just click on this link.
Okay, Temi, so that was good. So can I ask you a couple of questions? Yes. If you don't mind me asking, how much were these courses that were seemed like they were too expensive?
I think the minimum then was $2,000, 1,999.
Okay, great.
It wasn't that expensive, but for my pocket at that time,
yeah,
it would dip quite much more than I would like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm so glad you called me, and then we had that call, and you decided to go ahead. But can I ask you, when you were at that stage and you were thinking, because you knew quite a lot about rent to rent by then, what was worrying you about making it work for yourself?
The two things that I was worried about was choosing the location and making sure I'm not doing anything that is legalizing things, making sure I'm not doing anything that could get me into trouble. So I wanted to be assured that I'm doing everything, I'm compliant.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there were three things. I knew it was location, being compliant, then the documentations. I didn't know where to start from.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think those were my three.
Yeah, that's a good ones. And so once you started, let's just talk about how you overcame them, or how you got from like, oh gosh, I don't know about the contracts, I'm not sure if I'm compliant, and what was your other one?
Location.
And the location, to actually getting one. What?
I think I just, when I spoke to you during the phone call, and I think I was quite particular about the location,
Mm-hmm.
and you did advise me. Then I sat down and I checked spare rooms, open room, just to see the market on it, and I checked things that are going on in the area, if there were a lot of because I wanted to be professional co-livers. So if there were a lot of work going on, and if houses are cheap to rent, because they will rather rent. So I checked all that. Then that made me decide on the location.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I ended up choosing. And after that, the second was the document. I think I asked you as well if do you support? And you said yes. Most will get like all the documents that we need. We just need to read through it and make it our own. So I think the three major things I was worried about, which was documentation and everything, I think you did say you were going to support. So I just thought, well, I think this is what I needed.
Okay, well, I know that a lot of people are worried, and tell me if you were worried about actually speaking to the letting.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
So tell me how you felt about that before, and how you overcame it to actually, you know.
I think the all rent to rent, apart from my three main things that I wanted to clarify, my personality, the major thing about me is marketing, like making that phone call and talking to. My words just talk, they just don't come. They're dangling in my head and nothing comes. So, and I just, especially when I'm not sure of what I'm doing, or when I don't know what I'm doing, I just, the words just don't come out. And I have a very shy part of me. I get really shy. So those two, everything just stood against me. So while I was doing the paperwork, I enjoyed doing paperwork, and I knew that was in like my weakest. That just keep thinking, even if you do all this, you still cannot talk. You still cannot go to those landlords and speak to them and all that. So I think when I did, I compiled all my work and I saw where I was with some things. And I think after consolidating all the work, I realized that actually I need to try and make this phone call and see, because if I cannot make that phone call, then there's no point. And I think just trying, even though I haven't finished with a lot of things, I think I faced my fear earlier than, because that was like my weakest, the weakest part of me.
I wanted to ask about that because, you know, for most people, I think that's the big fear is, one of the things you said earlier, why would a landlord give their property to me? And B, what am I going to say with a letting agent? Or when the landlords call me, what am I going to say? But there's this sort of fear, but you overcame it. Could you say anything else about that, or how?
I think, yeah, I remember the first week I tried making the phone calls. The first agent I spoke to, God, it was like going for an interview. And he just kept asking me questions. Like I explained to him. He said, "Oh, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing." I don't, thank God you know that. Have you got? And I've already checked this website, and I knew he had the properties that I was interested in, 4 or 5 beds. And so I was like, "Have you got anything at the moment?" He said, "No. That why would I give my business to you? That is what." And I'm like, "No, you're not gonna give your business. So I tried explaining in my own little words. Some things I said I can't remember because already I felt a bit intimidated. So I tried explaining to him that I'm just like a tenant, but I need to get the consent of the landlord that this is what I'm going to be doing with because they are not ready-made HMO, they're just 4 beds, and that's like the model I want to start learn with before I go further up. So I was like, I just need the consent of landlord to say I'm going to rent each individual rooms out, but the rent is guaranteed. But what of my own management fee? I said it's not going to affect. So I tried to convince him. Then later I said, oh, I haven't got any property. I was like, oh, I've checked your website and you've actually got a couple of properties that interest me. So it was like, okay, send me your send me the letter. So I said, okay, I will send it. So I think that day was the day we had the training. So I made another phone call. That was a bit stressful, I'll be honest. I made it sound easier than it was. I think after I was like, this is not for me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
This is definitely not for me, blah, blah, blah. Because, yeah, I think he said he would have to be managing the tenants. Yeah, that was another thing he said. He said, oh, because I'll have to be managing the tenants. Then I forgot the words to say that I want the tenants free or blah. This management that is just tenant finder only. I couldn't remember that word. So it was just a bit. So anyway, I had another number of an agent. I called and I made the phone call and it was like, oh, can you meet up tomorrow? It was like two different worlds. And I met him the following day. He showed me, I think he was he was a nice guy. So he showed me around like 3 properties that day, but none of it was the model I wanted. So I just told him, no. I think there was one that actually interests me, but I got home and I did the deal analysis, and I wasn't going to make as much as I want to.
And when you say it wasn't your model, what do you mean? Just so people understand.
My model at the moment is either 3 double rooms and 2 receptions. So one of the reception I could rent it out. So I wanted at least 4 double rooms. So it's either a 3-bed with 2 reception or a 4-bed, a ready-made 4 doubles, or 3 double small single, then has 2 receptions. So I could just leave the single as a study and take one of the receptions.
Nice. I love that you were so crystal clear on what you wanted, so you weren't going down rabbit holes and you just knew what you wanted. So tell us, how many calls did you make to agents before you got the deal?
After beating the guy that I didn't find any property, I went on Gumtree and I searched landlords only adverts, and I think I made another few, which they said they don't want to rent. Like I was trying to explain, I got rejected. I think all the phone calls. They said they don't want any agent. They just want to do it themselves directly.
Yeah.
So, and I just said, oh, I just thought I should try because there's no management fee or anything, but so I think I made 3 phone calls during that week before I had the phone call from the second agent again that I might like this property, and that was it.
Okay, great. And then tell us about the call where the magic happened.
So he called. Actually, I think I was the one that called him to say if he's got anything. He shouldn't. I think I just called to check on him or something. And if he's going, I said, oh yeah, I've got this property that I've not even put it up yet. That if you want to come and have a look. So I went. It was a student area and a 4-bed. It was 3 double upstairs and 2 reception downstairs. So already one of the reception is made up to a room because it's a student area. And the landlord was managing it himself. So he decided that he wants to rent it as a whole house, and he doesn't, because he's got a project coming up this year. So he said while the project is coming up, he wants to rent it. So anyway, he said if I like, so I checked it and I liked the property. So he said he'll book an appointment with the landlord, and
with the letting agent.
yeah, I met the letting agent. The letting agent showed me the house.
Yeah.
So when I told him that it was what I wanted, and it was a bit higher than what I planned anyway. So I told him that I'll send my offer in, and then we should speak to the landlord. So he saw the offer, and I think he spoke to the landlord, and he said the landlord wanted to meet you. So yeah, I think that was the tough one. So I went to landlord. It was another interview because he's had few people turn like guaranteed rent. He just said there's few people that's come to me for the same proposal that I don't know why. So he kept asking me, how are you going to guarantee my rent? I think he asked me like 7 times, and I kept saying different or the same things. And maybe he wanted to know me more because I couldn't say more than what I was telling him, the business model. I've got people that could support me. We do the referencing, blah, blah, blah. So I did try to convince him. Then I think he later now said, okay, just go for the second view, go and view the property again with the agent, and then come back with all the paperwork. So he told me to, and I think, yeah. So I went back last week, Thursday, and he was happy. I thought he was going to say no again. Then I spent an hour with him. And then that was it.
That's fantastic. I think it's quite inspiring for people to see, and certainly you've inspired me as well, to see how quick it can happen. That you can just be, from a start, you're just thinking about getting your bank account and everything set up, and within 4 weeks, you've got your first deal, it's all signed up, and you're ready to go. So I just wonder, what advice would you give to anyone who's thinking of going into rent to rent, but same as you were, and certainly same as I was when I started, is worried about speaking to the letting agents and all the contracts and paperwork and everything like that?
My main advice is to put the mind that it is hard work. And you would, I think for me, is practice makes perfect. And anything you feel it's your fair, the more you do it, the more better. I would say I am learning. I wouldn't even say I've learned. I am learning, and each step I've taken, there's a new thing I've learned. So if I'm not taking these steps, I wouldn't realize. Like, I would say within a week now, there's 5 things I've realized. And if I haven't spoken to that landlord, if I haven't got that contract signed, there's no way I would know about it. So I would say go for them. Just stay focused, because they're like diversion along the line. Already the agent is saying, oh, if you do this, why don't you do service accommodation with this flat? So there will be a bit of distraction. And I'll just say, because it's early days and you don't want to feel it's the rent to rent that is not working, I think you just need to stay focused. And that's what I don't know about money wise. I am a bit not strong in making lot of money initially. I want to understand the business and everything. So my only 2 advice is, because I want to learn and know, and that is gain for me. So the gain only shouldn't be the money as well, because you will get the money. It's a good, I believe the money will come, but the chance that I could get that key from that landlord was a lot.
Yeah.
Was a lot of
Well, sometimes I speak to people and they've been trying on their own, trying out different strategies for months or even years, and they've not got a deal and they feel that it doesn't work. So I think it is inspiring that you've just taken it on, and it's not like you weren't scared. I'm
still scared.
Are you still scared? It's not like you weren't scared, but you just went for it, and that's what I love about you, Temi. And you've really taken everything that, you know, all the information that you've been given, and you've gone and, you know, you've done it. And like you said, it's not about perfection, it's about progression. And it's the same for you. You said you're still learning, you know, we're still learning as well. I'm still learning every day. Things come up that, you know, we haven't seen before that we have to put right. And it's amazing how much experience you get in quite a short period of time. Like you're with your 4 weeks. We're in our, I think, 2 years and 8 months we've been doing it now. And but I just love it because it's so exciting, it's so transformational. But I get so much joy that you have got this deal. And although you've said that the money's not important to you, I do want to say to people that actually Temi is making good money on this deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's only a 4-bed, and she'll be making at least £400 a month, because the way that we do the deal analysis, we put the voids in there, we put the maintenance in there, we even put an amount for management costs in there, even though we're self-managing, because there are costs that come with it. There's gardening in there, there's cleaning in there, all these costs are in there. And even after all of those costs, Temi's going to be making over £400 a month. So it's a fantastic deal. Super proud of what you've achieved. And if you've got if anybody watching has got any questions for Temi about how she got started, or how you can get started, or if you want any tips or advice from Temi, just leave a comment below. Or if you just want to say well done to Temi, just leave a thumbs up. Is there anything that you want to leave people with, Temi, just before we sign off?
Another thing I would say is the deal analysis check. It's really good, and I would say please use it, because I tried using the numbers I had in my head were totally different, but when I wrote it down in the checks, the result it brought out was just like, this is really good, and it's reassuring as well. So I would say don't rely on the numbers you've got in your head. Try and break it down, because it does.
That is an absolutely fantastic point, because I'm not so much a spreadsheet person. My sister, I've become a spreadsheet person through doing this, because I did not used to be a spreadsheet person. Oh, Temi's gone off, so
I'm back now.
Sorry. You're back. What I didn't used to be a spreadsheet person at all. So my sister would go and look at property together, and my sister would say to me, no, I would say to Nicky, I think we should offer, you know, X amount. And she would say, well, what are you basing that on? Where's the deal analysis spreadsheet? How do you know that? What are you doing? And I would be like, why does she need the deal analysis spreadsheet? Surely you just... But then when you would put it into the deal analysis spreadsheet, you would get a totally different figure to what you thought. And it also means, because it's got separate columns, what we do now is on the first column, we put in the information that the landlord's given us. And so we can work out, broadly speaking, what they're making at the moment. Yeah. Then we put in the next column what we would do, how we would do it, and what we would pay. And we look at how much we could give to the landlord, and if it matches up sort of to the net rent that he's currently getting. It just means that when we make our offer, we can talk about it in the right way compared with what he's currently getting. So yeah, it's super helpful. And just as a quick aside, which I wasn't even going to bring up, but thanks for mentioning the spreadsheet, is we have got the spreadsheets available to download, the deal analysis spreadsheet, and it's at rent2rentsuccess.com. I'll put the link below, and you can download that free and use it. I do encourage you, because I hate getting those calls. That's why we made it available. We get calls from people who bought deals from deal sources, and then it turns out it's nothing like they were told. And if they just put it in the deal analysis spreadsheet, you can see straight away, oh God, you've got some good tips. So is there anything else, Temi, that you haven't had opportunity?
Yeah, I think I've said it all. Staying focused. There's lots of distraction, and it is worth it. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for myself.
Yeah,
that this is just the beginning.
Absolutely, it will just be the beginning. Once you've got the first one up and running, we'll focus on this one and then get back on, and it's just rinse and repeat to just keep doing it again and again. So I was going to say something. Yes, it's about the mindset, because like Temi was saying, you know, we talk ourselves out of things or say that we can't do things in our heads because that's just a human reaction to things. But actually you can, and if you can just keep your mind on track, then the rest is relatively straightforward. Like, it's picking up the phone to people, it's writing a letter, it's sending an email, but it's sort of your mind puts a barrier there that says, oh, I can't.
just remembered something that helped me as well, which was during the course. I got the book Go for No.
Yes.
And it just made me feel there's nothing wrong failing. So those phone calls, when I was getting it, I was thinking, the more I get this no, the more I can get closer to my yes. And that's how I felt about those. Though they weren't still easy, I would say, but I just thought at least the more I'm feeling a bit rejected, the more I'm getting closer to that one person that would say yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a huge one for me as well, because I used to be very shy as well, Temi. I think I'm basically an introvert. Look at us, we've both got these big glasses. Yeah, well, anyway, I used to be quite an introvert as well. So, but as I've obviously been in this business and even in the business I had before, I've gradually start to come out of my shell and feel a lot less self-conscious and so on. But Go for No, it's a game changer. It's only a skinny book, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll put a link to that below. But that's, again, having that mindset where you put something that seems like a really negative thing, and in your mind you turn it into a positive thing, and then that starts to make everything much easier. Well, we would definitely invite you back on, Temi, again when you have all these more deals to talk about in a few months' time.
Yeah.
Or maybe when you actually go through the process of getting your property ready and getting it tenanted, because that's a story all of its own as well.
I know.
So, and we're going to have a call as well, aren't we? And go over the next steps as you go forward with taking this property and getting it over the line so that it's generating the income. Has it got tenants in it?
No.
Yeah. So that's the more straightforward one as well, because we've had, most of our properties have been empty, but the last 3 have all had tenants in. So I'll be saying a little bit more about that in future videos about how to take over the property when they've already got tenants in and transferring them across. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to come and just chat with us tonight. I'm so happy and pleased for you. And
thank you. Thanks for the support. It's been wonderful, I would say. It's been wonderful.
Good. That's how we want it to be. All right. Such an inspiration. And thanks to you guys as well for watching. If you've got any questions, ask them below. Leave any comments, ask any questions, and we will see you soon, guys. Bye for now.
Bye.